what's up y'all, I'm Charlie. On today's episode I'm going to be showing y'all how to make my delicious Creole Smothered Okra with shrimp and smoked sausage over rice. Now, smothering, the cooking technique, involves simmering meat, seafood, or in this case okra, in a small amount of liquid. In our case we're using shrimp stock and a tomato based like mixture, and we just let that simmer for a small period of time, and that's basically it. This is a very hearty, warming, and comforting dish. It's perfect for the fall and winter months, or you can cook it just about any other time of the year. This recipe calls for about 6 to 8 or possibly more servings. Absolutely delicious. So without further ado, let's get started. Alright, here's all what you'll need to make your New Orleans Creole Smothered Okra with shrimp and smoked sausage. Let's get started with our ingredients. You will need 2 pounds of fresh whole okra, and along with that you're going to need 2 pounds of small Louisiana shrimp, 1 pound of D&D smoked sausage, Hunt's tomato paste, no salt added, extra virgin olive oil, salted butter, and for your seasonings you'll need 1 yellow onion, some celery, bell pepper, and some garlic. And for your additional seasonings, you will need some salt, black pepper, Tony Chachere's Creole seasoning. You can also use Zatarain's Creole seasoning or Slap Your Mama Cajun seasoning. You will also need some Chef Paul Prudhomme's seafood and vegetable magic. I'll have the links to where you can purchase these seasonings in the description box. You will also need some onion powder, garlic powder, dried oregano, dried basil, dried thyme, and some fresh bay leaves. And there we have it. Alright, let's get straight to it. So we're going to get started by chopping up a half of a yellow onion. Alright, now I'm going to go ahead and rinse off the celery and the green bell pepper before I chop it. Now I'm going to chop 3 ribs of celery. Now I'm going to chop half of a green bell pepper. Alright, here I have 2 cloves of garlic. I cut them in half. Now I'm going to chop the garlic up until it is minced. Alright, now I'm going to add my okra into this mesh strainer. And I'm going to rinse the okra off with cold water. Alright, now I'm going to go ahead and just cut the okra. About that size right there. I don't cut it too thin. Now I'm going to slice the smoked sausage. Alright, let's get started with our shrimp. So we're going to get started by taking the shrimp head and just peeling it off the shrimp and placing that into one bowl. And let's peel the shrimp shell off of the shrimp tail. Now we're going to take the shell and we're just going to place it into this bowl. We're going to take our shrimp tail and place that into a separate bowl. So here's the shrimp's digestive tract. So we're just going to take a knife. We're just going to gently cut the back of the shrimp. And there's the shrimp's digestive tract, and you just take your fingers and just pull it out, just like that. Alright, now I'm going to add the shrimp into this mesh strainer. Now I'm going to rinse the shrimp off with cold water. Once your shrimp has been peeled, cleaned, and deveined, just take it, place it into an airtight container, and place it into your refrigerator until it's ready to be cooked. Preheat your fire to medium heat. Alright, now let's get started with the shrimp stock. So in this medium-sized pot, I added 2 quarts of water. Now I'm going to go ahead and add a half a teaspoon of salt, 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper, and a half a teaspoon of Tony Chachere's Creole seasoning. Now I'm going to just give this a quick stir. Let this come to a simmer. Now I'm going to go ahead and add the shrimp heads and shells. Alright, now I'm going to go ahead and give this a quick stir. Now I'm going to let this simmer until it cooks down, and I'll let you know the cooking time once it's finished. Alright, it's been about 1 hour now, and our shrimp stock is done. Turn your fire off. Now I'm going to pour this into a mesh strainer with a medium-sized bowl underneath it. Just remove this. And there we have it. Homemade shrimp stock from scratch. Once done, you should have about 4 cups of shrimp stock all together. Alright, now I'm going to go ahead and preheat my oven to 375 degrees. Okay, here we have an 11 by 17 inch baking pan. Now we're just going to add about 2 teaspoons of the extra virgin olive oil. Alright, so now I'm going to just take my hand and I'm just going to spread that olive oil around the baking pan. Okay, here we have our okra chopped and ready to go. So now I'm just going to sprinkle about 1/4 teaspoon of salt. And in my hand here, I'm going to just add a little bit, about a 1/2 teaspoon of olive oil. And now I'm just going to coat the okra with this. Now I'm going to take the okra and add it into your baking pan. Now I'm going to just spread this around. Now you will notice that the okra will shrink when it bakes. And I'm using a light coated pan, so bakes more even versus with the dark coated pans. Yeah, the dark coated pans, the bottom browns too quick. Now it's ready to be baked. Alright, now I'm going to go ahead and place this into a preheated 375 degree oven on the bottom rack. And I'm going to bake this for 1 hour. Alright, it's been about 1 hour for our okra. Now let's go ahead and remove this out of the oven. Now you're going to let this cool completely. Now I want to give y'all some quick tips here. Now if you're using store-bought okra that's already cut in a bag, it's going to take a much longer time to get rid of the slime from the okra. That's why I said use fresh okra. And if the okra still is kind of slimy, you could take it and place it back into the oven for about an additional 15 to 20 minutes and go from there. Preheat your fire to medium heat. Alright, let's get started with sauteing our seasonings. So in this large saucepan, we're going to add 3 tablespoons of salted butter. Just spread this around. And I'm going to let that melt. Alright, now let's add our seasonings. We're going to add about 1 cup of our chopped yellow onion, 2/3 cup of chopped celery, and 2/3 cup of chopped green bell pepper. Now I'm going to go ahead and give this a quick stir. Now I'm going to let this saute for about 8 to 10 minutes, stirring occasionally. Alright, now we're going to add 1 tablespoon of chopped garlic, 2 cups of shrimp stock. Now let's add some seasoning. We're going to add a 1/2 teaspoon of salt, 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper, 1/4 teaspoon of Tony Chachere's Creole seasoning, a 1/2 teaspoon of Chef Paul Prud'homme's Seafood Magic, 1/4 teaspoon of Chef Paul Prud'homme's Vegetable Magic, 1 teaspoon of onion powder, 1 teaspoon of garlic powder, a 1/2 teaspoon of dried basil, a 1/2 teaspoon of dried oregano, a 1/2 teaspoon of dried thyme, 3 bay leaves, and 1/4 cup of tomato paste. I'm going to take my whisk and just give this a quick stir. Now I'm going to let this come up to a simmer. Now to cut the acid of the tomatoes, this is totally optional. I'm going to add a teaspoon of sugar in here. Then you're going to add your okra. I'm going to give this a quick stir. Now I'm going to add an additional 1 1/4 cups of shrimp stock. Now I'm going to give this a quick stir. Now I'm going to cover this. Let this simmer for 10 minutes, stirring occasionally. Alright. Now I'm going to add the shrimp. And the smoked sausage. Now I'm going to just give this a quick stir. Now I'm going to cover this. Let this simmer for 5 minutes, stirring occasionally. Alright, it's been about 5 minutes now. And after 15 minutes total of cooking, our Creole Smothered Okra with shrimp and smoked sausage is now done. turn your fire off. Now for some quick tips, your mixture will thicken as it cools. Now during the cooking process, if you have any issues with liquid evaporating, you can add more shrimp stock as needed, or you can add water as well. Don't worry about the water. It won't affect the flavor at all, okay? And also for the bay leaves, if you don't want to have the bay leaves in there, you can take some tongs and remove the bay leaves out of there. You can also serve this the very next day, so that way the flavors can settle and increase overnight. Totally optional if you want to do that, okay? Now it's time to go ahead and take a bite. I waited all day for this moment. Oh. Woo! The okra just simply melts in your mouth. It's not slimy at all. You could taste the flavor of the shrimp and that tomato-based sauce and all the seasonings that we've added. I mean, everything is just well balanced. Absolutely delicious. Yes. Ooh. It's really good. So, give the recipe a try. Hey y'all, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you like my channel, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell button if you want to be notified of my videos. Now I have an official website for all of my recipes, including this fabulous New Orleans Creole Smothered Okra with shrimp and smoked sausage recipe. You can go to www.charliethecookandrews.com. I'm also on Facebook and on Instagram under the name Charlie the Cook Andrews. So until next time, take care, and I hope you all have a great day. Peace.